Disclaimer. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes. It is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset. Please do your own research and due diligence when choosing what to invest in. Now, on to the analysis.
Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Dad's Market Stats. In today's video, first things first, we're going to be withdrawing another $250 that we received back from collateral on a put option that expired out of the money on Friday. So let's go ahead and do that first. As you can see here, I have $258 in my buying power. So what we're going to do is we're going to deposit that back into my checking account. So let's go ahead and do that first. As we can see here. And it's going to take a little bit of time. I have to just go quickly to the bank and see how much is $250 that I'm trying to transfer. So let's go ahead and do that first because I'm taking care of that. You'll see that the $250 has been removed from my buying power, and it also has been removed from my investing, right? My investing total now is $5,734, okay? So next on the agenda, I wanted to talk about, I am on Instagram with the same handle, Dad's Market Stats. If you wanted to check some real-time trade updates and also some picks, some option picks that are given a good premium, whether it's a put option or a call option, I'm also going to be posting that on my stories on Instagram. So if you want to follow me there, you'll be able to see real-time trade updates there. You don't have to pay for any of these picks. You would just have to follow me there to see what I'm choosing throughout the week. So as we can see here on my options that I have currently out there in the market that I've sold, we have a total of 22 options that have been sold, 8 put options and 14 call options. All right. So on August 16th, how much capital is going to be released that I'm going to be able to use as collateral to sell more options on August 16th, which is next month? Well, let's take a look at, first we'll take a look at BlackBerry, right? Very easy here. BlackBerry, I currently have a market value of $247, right? So that's easy right there. $247 that is going to be released on August 16th. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Bitfarms. This is going to take a little bit longer to add up. As we can see here, what I have in collateral for cash is $2,050. And my total market value of the 1,300 shares that I own of Bitfarms is $3,536. So all of this adds up to $5,833 of capital that is going to be released back to me on August 16th, which I will then be able to use to sell more covered calls and covered puts. Okay, so this is how we are able to compound our interest by using the wheel strategy. It really makes more sense than leaving your money in the bank and really not making any money from that, right? But by using the wheel strategy, we're able to compound interest and make money, send our money to work, tell it to stop being lazy. All right. So let's go ahead and now look at some of the news that has come out with Riot and Bitfarms on their websites. We're going to take a look at some news that came out recently. I know one of my viewers asked me a question about that. What do I think about the ruling that the court made in favor of Riot? So let's take a look at that right now in Riot's websites. Here we see this announcement that came out on July 24th, 2024. And the title here can be a little bit deceiving, right? It says here, Riot announces that Ontario Capital Markets Tribunal has terminated Bitfarms' poison pill. Okay. Let's see what it says here in this announcement. It says, all right, Riot Platforms today announced that it was successful in its application to the Ontario Capital Markets Tribunal to cease trade the June 10th, 2024 Shareholders' Rights Plan, the poison pill, implemented by the Board of Directors of Bitfarms. The cease trade order terminates Bitfarms' poison pill, which contemplated a 15% trigger effective immediately. Jason Les, Chief Executive Officer of Riot, stated, "This ruling from the tribunal in favor of Riot's application is a win for all Bitfarms shareholders. The adoption of the off-market poison pill is yet another example of the broken corporate governance that plagues Bitfarms and the ongoing attempts by the Bitfarms directors to entrench themselves. We appreciate that the tribunal acted quickly and decisively to remove the poison pill. We continue to believe that our three director nominees, John Delaney, Amy Friedman, and Ralph Goring, must be elected to the Bitfarms board at the 2024 special meeting of shareholders, scheduled for October 29, 2024. In order to repair Bitfarms' poor corporate governance, these nominees are fully independent of Riot, and Bitfarms are highly qualified and will bring much-needed fresh perspectives into the boardroom. We look forward to communicating further with shareholders in the coming weeks and months." So as we talked about in our previous video, these three nominees that Riot has for the board of directors do not have much experience when it comes to Bitcoin mining or digital assets, right? So they're not really highly qualified, as Riot says here. Yeah, they're not really going to really create a better Bitfarms with these three nominees that they have here. If they are able to bring these three nominees into the board of directors of Bitfarms, they're really just going to sabotage the company. So it's not a good choice for Bitfarms shareholders. All right. Now, as I said earlier, this title here, right, is a little bit deceiving, right? As we can see here, some more of their comments that are deceiving. "We appreciate that the tribunal acted quickly and decisively to remove the poison pill." Why is that deceiving? Well, let's take a look at Bitfarms' website now, because they quickly responded to that decision as well. Bitfarms issued a statement regarding decision by Capital Markets Tribunal of the Ontario Securities Commission. Let's take a look at this press release here. It says here, Bitfarms, a global vertically integrated Bitcoin data center company, today issued the following statement in response to a decision by the Capital Markets Tribunal of the Ontario Securities Commission to cease trade the company's shareholder rights plan. The tribunal announced its decision following hearings on July 22nd and July 23rd, 2024. The company also announced that its board of directors, following a unanimous recommendation of its independent special committee, has unanimously approved the adoption of a new shareholder rights plan, pursuant to a shareholder rights plan agreement entered into with Toronto Stock Exchange Trust Company as rights agent, dated July 24th, 2024, the effective date. The tribunal has decided to cease trade Bitfarms' rights plan, which effectively terminates the rights plan. The rights plan was put in place to preserve the integrity of the independent special committee's strategic alternatives review process in light of attempts by Riot to opportunistically acquire the company, said Brian Howlett, lead director of the Bitfarms board. In light of this decision, the Bitfarms board has adopted a new rights plan to ensure the interests of all shareholders are protected. The board and the special committee remain committed to maximizing value and seeking to achieve the best outcome for the company and its shareholders. So yes, Bitfarms did say here, or Brian Howlett, right, the lead director of the Bitfarms board, that Riot has opportunistically tried to acquire the company because they know that Bitfarms is way, way undervalued at the moment. And so they try to pounce on that opportunity and do a hostile takeover attempt on the company, Bitfarms, right? Because they know that Bitfarms should be valued way more than what it's currently valued at, right? Yeah, so that's why it's opportunistic of them. Let's keep reading on here. The new rights plan has been adopted to ensure, to the extent possible, that all shareholders of the company are treated fairly and equally in connection with any unsolicited takeover bid or other acquisition of control of the company, including the protection against creeping bids, which involve the accumulation of 20% or more of the company's common shares through purchases exempt from applicable Canadian takeover bid rules. Okay, very good. So, and Bitfarms says that they were creeping bids. And notice here again, it is an unsolicited takeover bid that Riot made on Bitfarms, right? Because Bitfarms, once again, they do not need to get bought out. They have a lot of plans going forward that, if executed, should bring the stock back into a higher valuation. So here it says, The new rights plan is not being adopted in response to any specific proposal to acquire control of the company, and the board is not aware of any pending or threatened takeover bid for the company. However, the board is aware that Riot Platforms is seeking to replace 3 directors on the Bitfarms board at the company's hybrid special meeting of shareholders on October 29, 2024. The new rights plan allows Riot to proceed with its nominations and solicit proxies in respect of the meeting. So Bitfarms is not afraid of these nominees that Riot has uh, elected to put on Bitfarms board of directors, right? As we talked about, these 3 nominees do not have much experience when it comes to Bitcoin mining, so they will not be very valuable to Bitfarms shareholders. They're not afraid of these nominees, right? And as we see here, Riot is trying to remove 3 of Bitfarms directors, right? And I believe one of those includes Mrs. Fanny Phillip, which is the newly appointed board of director member for Bitfarms. Okay, and we'll talk more about her later. At the close of business on August 6, 2024, 1 right will be issued and attached to each common share outstanding at that time. A right will also be attached to each common share issued after the record time. The issuance of the rights will not change the manner in which shareholders trade their common shares, subject to the terms of the new rights plan. The rights issued under the new rights plan become exercisable if a person, together with certain related persons, acquires or announces its intention to acquire 20% or more of the common shares without complying with the permitted bid. Provisions of the new rights plan. Following a transaction that results in a person becoming an acquiring person, the rights entitle the holder thereof to purchase common shares at a significant discount to the market price. So what does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? Well, this means that and notice that it says that there are no takeover bids at this time, right? Because Riot removed their offer to buy Bitfarms at $2.30 a share. So right at this moment, there are no takeover bids offered by anybody. However, because of this poison pill now being in effect, right, which Riot claimed that it had been terminated, but no, it was just adjusted. Okay, so the poison pill is now triggered at 20%, right? If somebody announces his intention to acquire 20% or more of the common shares, right, then that will trigger the poison pill. Okay, and as we can see here, there is 1 right per outstanding share at that time. So if you own 1 share of Bitfarms when the poison pill is triggered, then you will have the right to buy 1 share at a significant discount to the market price. And this is if you own it as of August 6, 2024. But not only that, it says here, attached to a right will also be attached to each common share issued after the record time. Okay, so even if you buy shares after August 6th, you will have a right to purchase another share for a discounted price at that time. Okay, so that is very good news, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm happy with this decision. Okay, I really am happy that now Riot is able to buy another 5% of Bitfarms common shares. Okay. And I'm gonna let you know soon. But let me finish with this press release right here. It says, under the new rights plan, a permitted bid is a takeover bid made in compliance with the Canadian takeover bid regime. Specifically, a permitted bid is a takeover bid that is made to all shareholders that is open for 105 days and that contains certain conditions, including that no common shares will be taken up and paid for unless more than 50% of the common shares that are held by independent shareholders are tendered to the takeover bid. While the new rights plan is effective as of the effective date, it is subject to shareholder ratification within 6 months of its adoption, failing which it will terminate. The board intends to recommend the ratification of the new rights plan for approval by its shareholders at the meeting. If ratified by shareholders, the new rights plan will have an initial term of 3 years. If the new rights plan is not ratified by the company's shareholders at the meeting, the new rights plan and all rights issued thereunder will terminate and cease to be effective at that time. All right. Adoption of the new rights plan is subject to the acceptance of the Toronto Stock Exchange. The TSX may notify the company that it will defer its consideration of the acceptance of the new rights plan until such time as it is satisfied that the appropriate Securities Commission will not intervene pursuant to the national policy takeover bids. defensive tactics. Pursuant to TSX policies, the TSX normally defers acceptance of shareholder rights plans adopted in response to a specific or anticipated takeover bid. However, as noted earlier, the board is not aware of any pending or threatened takeover bid for the company. This is because Riot already removed their offer, right? A deferral of acceptance of the new rights plan by the TSX will not affect the adoption or operations of the new rights plan, which will remain operative and effective for a minimum of 6 months from the effective date, unless shareholder ratification is not obtained at the meeting or earlier terminated. All right. So this is very good news, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Riot is now able to buy another 5% stake in Bitfarms shares. All right. So why is this good news? Well, because as of this moment, we know that Bitcoin mining is a fairly new industry, right? Bitfarms came out in 2008 after the recession that happened in 2008 when all of the banks were saved by by the government. Um, and so after that, that's when Bitcoin came out, and it was made to stop those things from happening, right? Where the government bails out banks when they make a lot of huge mistakes that affect a lot of people, right? So that is why Bitcoin was made. So since 2008 to this day, right? Bitcoin mining companies didn't start coming out until I believe it was 2016 when they started to have these Bitcoin mining companies that were made public, right? Where you can buy shares of these companies, right? So, and Bitfarms has been around since that time. They've been around for a long, long time, ladies and gentlemen. That is why they have so many shares outstanding in the market at the moment, okay? Because they've been around for a while. So that is why Bitcoin was made. And and so now we see here, ladies and gentlemen, that if Riot does buy another 5% of common shares of Bitfarms, that they will cause the price of Bitfarms to go up as well. All right. So essentially what Riot is doing is that they're buying back shares that Bitfarms has already diluted into the market. Okay, from their at the market offering that they also had previously made an announcement about, right? They're at the market offering. So they're still diluting shares. They're still able to do that because they still have um, money that they can make from this at the market offering. And Riot is buying back lots of those shares. Okay. Up to now, no Bitcoin mining company has ever bought back shares of their company. Riot is not buying back shares of their company because Riot needs a lot of help, right? Their company is in a lot of trouble. Riot is in a lot of trouble right now. They're one of the top 3 in market cap Bitcoin mining companies at the moment, but they're in a lot of trouble, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of other Bitcoin mining companies that are on their tail and very close to taking over in the top 3. Okay, so Riot is in a lot of trouble at the moment, and that is why they are not buying back shares of their own company. Instead, they're choosing to buy shares of Bitfarms. Why? Because Bitfarms is very undervalued right now. Bitfarms should be trading at way more than what it's trading at the moment, which is under $3. They should be trading at between $3 and $4, right? Really closer to $4 right now with how good their company is uh is working right now. Okay, but let's take a look more about what's going on with Bitfarms. Let's take a look at some more of these press releases. Bitfarms announces Toronto Stock Exchange deferral of considerations of shareholder rights plan. Okay, as we see here from this press release, it says that today announced that it has been notified by the Toronto Stock Exchange that the TSX will defer its consideration of the acceptance of the company's shareholder rights plan as announced on July 24th, 2024, until such time as it is satisfied that the appropriate Securities Commission will not intervene pursuant to national policy, right? Takeover bid. The ratification of the rights plan by the shareholders of the company by no later than January 24th, 2025. A deferral of acceptance of the rights plan by the TSX does not affect the adoption or operation of the rights plan, which will remain operative and effective for a minimum of 6 months from the date of adoption on July 24th, unless earlier terminated. Okay, so as we can see here, the TSX has accepted the shareholders' rights plan that has been effective from July 24th, 2024, which causes the shareholders' rights plan to be triggered if somebody makes an announcement that they are purchasing 20% stake of Bitfarms, right? Then the poison pill will be triggered. Anyone holding a right will be able to buy another share for a significant discount after that time. Okay. So that's very good news, right? As I mentioned earlier, this is the closest that any Bitcoin mining company has gone to buying back their shares, to purchasing back their shares. Because if Riot does buy another 5% shares of Bitfarms, they're essentially buying back shares that Bitfarms has diluted into the market, right? So they're buying back shares. Now, Apple, if you are keeping up with the news, Apple did announce in their last quarter, they did announce a buyback of their shares. And what happened with Apple stock after that announcement, which they did on their last earnings report? Well, let's take a look. All right, what happened with Apple after they made an announcement that they would be buying back shares of their company stock? Apple went from $169, right? Okay, $165 all the way up to $234. Okay. After they announced in their last quarter report, earnings report, that they were going to be buying back shares of their company and billions of dollars worth of their shares, right? So after they made that announcement, their stock jumped all the way up to $234, right? So when companies buy back shares of their stock, that is good news for shareholders, right? And that is why their stock went up so high after that announcement. Okay. So Bitfarm stock should be going up too, because as we know, Riot is about to start buying more shares of Bitfarm because they are able to now buy another 5% stake in Bitfarm's common shares. Okay, so this stock is going to be going up very soon, or it should at least, right? Very good. So that's very good news for shareholders, right? But we'll see how the market takes this news next week and next month, right? In the upcoming months, we'll see how the market takes that news, right? They don't always take the news the way that they're supposed to, but we'll see. All right. Any news is good news for us. If the stock goes down, we're just going to sell put options. If the stock goes up, our call options might get triggered and we'll be able to sell our shares for a profit. So it's still going to be good news for us either way. All right, but let's take a look at the new CEO of Bitfarms. Okay. Let's take a look at what he said to shareholders. This is Ben Gagnon, Chief Executive Officer. In his letter to the shareholders, he said, I wanted to reach out and introduce myself to those who may not know me and share my thoughts and perspective on Bitfarms and the strong foundation we have built. On July 8, 2024, the Bitfarms Board of Directors appointed me as the company's Chief Executive Officer. While I am new to the CEO role, I have been with Bitfarms for over 5 years and had the opportunity to grow with the business, most recently serving as Chief Mining Officer. I know Bitfarms well and understand the value of our business, assets, and people. Since joining the company in 2019, I've supported the development and execution of the company's growth plan and have seen firsthand the opportunities we have been able to create. I am fortunate to work alongside an incredible Bitfarms team committed to acting in the best interests of our shareholders and other stakeholders. I look forward to collaborating with the board, including our newly appointed independent director, Fanny Phillip, a recognized expert in the blockchain technology field, and the management team to continue executing on our transformational growth plan. So here we see he might have taken a shot at Riot, right? Because they are stakeholders in Bitfarms, so he could have been taking a shot at them here. But we see here that he has a lot of trust in Mrs. Fanny Phillip, the newly appointed member of the board for Bitfarms, because she is a recognized expert in blockchain technology field, right? So this is why they're not afraid of the nominees that Riot has for the upcoming shareholders' rights meeting or shareholders meeting, right, in October. They're not afraid of them putting them up for nomination because they already appointed a great member of the board in Mrs. Fannie Phillip, and they hired an excellent CEO in Ben Gagnon. But let's read more about what he said. While the board and management team remain confident in the business and our strategy, we are always looking for ways to enhance value, which is why the special committee is conducting a strategic alternatives review process to determine the best path forward for the company. The process remains ongoing, and the special committee will take the time it needs to thoroughly evaluate all opportunities to achieve the best outcome for Bitfarm shareholders. Independent of any alternative the special committee determines to be in the best interest of shareholders, I would like to share with you why I am so confident about Bitfarm's value proposition. Thanks to the strong foundation and well-balanced portfolio we've built, the company is on track to deliver our fully funded 2024 guidance of 21 exahash and 21 watts per terahash, and poised to deliver the greatest hash rate growth and cost improvement in Bitfarm's history with industry-leading benchmarks. So this is another piece of great news here, ladies and gentlemen, in case you missed it. I'm going to highlight it. It says the company is on track to deliver our fully funded 2024 guidance of 21 exahash and 21 watts per terahash. All right. So they finally announced that they are fully funded to 21 exahash for 2024. Okay. So they no longer need to dilute shareholders anymore because they are fully funded for the rest of this year. However, they still have an at-the-market offering, which they could still use if they wanted to dilute Riot anymore. All right. So let's keep reading here. On track to deliver record hash rate and efficiency improvement. As you can see here, transformative fleet upgrade from 10.4 exahash to 35 at the end of the year 2025. Operating expansion and optimization from 310 megawatts of capacity to now 648 megawatts in 2025. Vertically integrated and geographically diversified. They have 12 data centers in Canada, US, Argentina, and Paraguay. 2 data centers in development in Paraguay and the US. The quarter 1 2024 highlights, as we can see here, 943 Bitcoin mined, 50 million in revenue, 21 million in adjusted EBITDA, gross mining margin of 59%. Their balance sheet right here, $124 million in cash or cash equivalents. They have 950 Bitcoin in their treasury. I'm sorry, 905 Bitcoin in their treasury. No debt. Okay. They have no debt. So excellent information here for us. Over the last few years, we have taken deliberate actions to allow us to capitalize on the tremendous growth opportunities before us, deleveraging our balance sheet and emphasizing low-cost vertically integrated operations. Now, with no debt, a rapidly increasing hash rate, improving energy efficiency, and reduced costs on a per Bitcoin basis, we are aggressively entering this new era, positioned to realize our tremendous potential and capture upside from quickly rising Bitcoin prices. So here is their growth for 2024 and 2025, as we can see here. Most of their growth going forward looks to be in the US. You can see from this chart here, right? That is in 2025, okay? Currently, as of this moment, quarter 2, 2024, we can see that most of their operations is in Canada. Second is in Paraguay, then Argentina, and then the US. But by the end of the year, most of their operations will be in Canada and Paraguay, Argentina, and then a little bit in the US. Now, for 2025, most of their growth and even overtaking the other 3 places of operations that they have is going to be in the US. That is where most of their growth will be in 2025, as we can see from this chart here. Okay, very good. So capturing upside with no debt, rapidly increasing hash rate, improving energy efficiency, and cost reductions. One of Bitfarm's strongest assets is our high-quality, geographically diversified portfolio of energy assets, which is why we are focused on upgrading our fleet and building new data centers to improve efficiency and increase hash rate. We have already installed more than 39,000 new miners and de-racked over 39,000 old miners in 2024, while also completing upgrades at all of our Quebec data centers. In parallel, we signed 2 new agreements for 120 megawatts in Sharon, Pennsylvania, and 100 megawatts in Iguazu, Paraguay, which, when combined, bring our 2025 power capacity to 648 megawatts, more than double our current capacity. With this new site and our rapidly improving efficiency, we are confident in our 2025 guidance of over 35 exahash. Looking ahead, we'll continue to evaluate new geographies, new markets, and new opportunities to drive shareholder value. As we take steps to expand and diversify the business beyond Bitcoin mining into exciting and synergistic new areas like energy generation, energy trading, heat recycling, and other high-value revenue streams like HPC AI, which is high performance computing, artificial intelligence, we will continue to maximize the utility and value of our energy assets for the benefit of all shareholders. The future is bright for Bitfarms. I have genuinely never been more optimistic or excited about our future and hope you share my confidence in Bitfarms' path ahead to drive value for shareholders. Thank you for the continued support of Bitfarms. Sincerely, Ben Gagnon. Very good. So this is his letter to shareholders. We can see very, very good news. We can expect Bitfarm stock to rise in the upcoming months. And we're looking forward to that, ladies and gentlemen. The market has to correct itself because Bitfarms is currently very, very undervalued from where they should be at the moment. The market is going to correct itself eventually. All right. Very good. So that is all for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. And I hope you enjoyed and benefited from this video. If you have any questions, you can drop a comment or follow me on Instagram and you can send me a direct message there. And also follow me on Instagram just so you can keep up to date with my current trades and real-time trades, right? Also, my picks for options that we could sell, calls and puts. That is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you have a great week. And as always,
This has been another video from Dad's Market Stats. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. If you know someone that can benefit from these videos, make sure to share it with them as well. Until next time, and remember, let's grow together.